What's up, guys? The Snowman here, back to explain one of the most popular sports in the world in Rugby Union, or just rugby for short. I've done other sports explained videos in the past, like Gaelic football, pickleball, ping pong, to name a few, but figured I'd tackle the basics of rugby today. All the important aspects from the history and team components to the scoring, the rules, a field diagram, and plenty more. So what is rugby? It's a team sport that originated in England in the first half of the 19th century. The basic premise of the game is that each team has 15 players. They use a combination of running with the ball, passing it, and kicking it to score points. You can run forward with the ball in rugby, but you can only pass sideways or behind unless you're kicking the ball. We play two 40-minute halves, and whichever team has the most points once time expires is the winner. I'd say rugby has a combination of elements from association football or soccer, American football, and wrestling. Let's take a look at our field of play now. The rugby pitch is 100 meters in length, so similar to a football field, 70 meters wide. Our in-goal areas are at each end. They're between 6 and 22 meters in length. Those are kind of like end zones. We've got our uprights on the goal line, and then we have our halfway line and our two 10-meter lines and 22-meter lines, which are relevant for restarting play, penalties, and certain scoring aspects. As I said before, rugby is a game played with 15 players on each team on the field at once. There is another version called Rugby Sevens, which is actually an Olympic sport now, but for today we're focusing on Rugby 15s. All these positions have different roles, ranging from scoring points, retaining possession, passing, defending, tackling, and more, but so much of rugby is about winning the ongoing battle of field positioning and advancing the ball. That's what these forwards and backs do. Let's talk about scoring now. There's four main ways to score points in the game of rugby. Number one is the try. A try is the main objective of the game. That's when a player runs into the opposing team's in-goal area and touches the ball down on the pitch. It's kind of similar to a touchdown, but unlike American football, the ball must be touched to the ground for the points to be awarded. If you do that, then your team is awarded 5 points. The second way to score points is after a successful try, your team is awarded a conversion kick. A conversion awards 2 points to the scoring team. Conversions must be kicked in a line perpendicular to where the try was scored, but from the 22-meter line. If you kick the ball from the ground through the posts and over the crossbar, then your team gets 2 points. Number three is through a penalty. If your opponent commits a penalty, you may choose to kick the ball from the ground in a dead ball situation. If you get it through the post and over the crossbar, you get 3 points. And the last way to score is through a drop goal, which awards 3 points. You can kick the ball through the post during open play at any time. However, the ball must touch the ground first before kicking. Now, during all this, of course, the other team is trying to stop them from scoring. Your opponent can tackle you, grab you below the shoulders, and pull you to the ground or stop you from moving forwards. In Rugby Union, if you get tackled as the ball carrier, then you must let go of the ball, and both teams will fight for possession in a scrum called a rook. Each team trying to push the other team away to gain possession of the ball. We also have the maul, which is very similar to the rook, only it takes place with every player standing on their feet, but still a battle for possession and field position. Some other terms to know: a scrum is a restart in play, usually after an illegal forward pass or a knock-on. The forwards of each team will line up and push against each other while trying to gain possession of the ball. A lineout is another restart in play, usually when the ball goes out of bounds, or what they call in touch with Rugby Union. For a lineout, each team lines up 1 meter apart and the ball is thrown in. During this time, players are allowed to lift teammates up in order to gain possession. As far as discipline goes, just like in football, we have yellow and red cards. A yellow card means the offending player must sit out for 10 minutes without being replaced, and a red card means the player is sent off for the duration of the match, with his team having to play a man down the rest of the way. During the match, substitutions can be made for tactical purposes or injuries. Normally, if a player gets subbed out, they can't come back in later in the match, except in the case of injury. In international matches, it's typical to see 8 replacements allowed per game. And speaking of international matches, the World Cup is the biggest event in rugby, taking place every 4 years, just like the FIFA World Cup. These are the current world rankings. Rugby massive in New Zealand. They're one of 8 countries who have adopted Rugby Union as their national sport. The All Blacks, an iconic team in the game. Rugby also huge in places like South Africa, England, Ireland, Scotland, Australia. They're consistently the top teams. In fact, South Africa, the reigning World Cup champs from 2019. In my opinion, the best way to learn about rugby is to watch it. There's a lot more terms and rules that I didn't go over today, but with the 2023 World Cup on the horizon, plenty of rugby fun looms for all to enjoy. Thanks a lot for watching my Rugby Explained video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed it, though. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more sports content, new videos every single week. Cheers.